Check, check, check. Good evening, everyone. The time is now 7:05. Today is Wednesday, August 23rd, and this meeting is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Here.
Madam Clerk, adequate notice, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, and Sentinel, Desi Talk, on December 1st, 2022, and posted main lobby municipal complex on that same date.
Again, welcome, everyone. First, before I begin, I just wanted to mention briefly about Monday's meeting. For anyone that may have been watching, I left the meeting slightly early to deal with a personal matter. I do appreciate everyone's understanding. Second, it was also mentioned by Councilman Patil in regards to presiding officer duties in review of the ordinance. I did error in that, so I just wanted to apologize in regards. As for upcoming items, I just wanted to mention again the following events. Saturday, August 26th, Edison House Music Festival, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Lake Papiani. Monday, September 11th, is the Remembrance Ceremony at 6 p.m. at the Memorial Fountain. Saturday, September 23rd, the Fall Family Spectacular at Amboy Avenue, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And finally, in the upcoming weeks will be the annual Township Fall Cleanup. The schedule is as follows, with all dates being on Saturdays. September 9th, sections 1 and 6. September 16th, sections 2 and 7. September 23rd, sections 3 and 8. September 30th, sections 4 and 9. And October 7th, sections 5 and 10. Collections begin at 6 a.m., so please make sure your material is curbside before that time. And for more information, you can visit the township website at edisonnj.gov to view the program bulletin. All right. At this time, we'll move on to approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Seconded.
Just for clarification, I believe one of the council members, Councilman Coyle, was absent on June 12th, so it would be figuring to abstain. Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President Harris. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
No. Thank you, sir. Approval minutes are approved. 6, approval of volunteer firefighters for Raritan Engine Company Number 1. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President Harris. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Administrative agenda from Mayor Sam Joshi. A, appointment of Kathleen Carlucci to the Cultural Arts Committee. Can I get a motion to approve?
Council President?
Yes,
May
Council
I
Vice
just make a
President Harris.
quick comment on that appointment, or is that time passed? I know Monday people were making the comments about it.
Because you were not here, I'll afford you
Okay.
the opportunity.
Yeah, just briefly, to add my voice to what others said, this is an excellent appointment. I'm so pleased of being the liaison to this committee. I'm really, really pleased to have her. She's talented, she's devoted, and has done a great job with the Edison Towers, so we welcome her aboard. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. 8, unfinished business, ordinances for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Madam Clerk, please read.
An ordinance authorizing the sale of 2 township properties known as Block 491.01, Lot 30, and Block 491.01, Lot 33, in the Township of Edison.
At this time, I'd like to open it up to the public for any comments, questions, or concerns. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close public portion?
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor? Aye. The public portion is closed. At this point, can I get a motion? And just for reference, council comments would come after any motion.
Motion to adopt?
Yep.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patel, second by Council Vice President Harris. Council comments.
Council President.
Yes, Councilman Patel.
Okay, we discussed this ordinance, I think, to some extent on Monday. And I was told that this is a land sale, not the land sale, but the land, it's basically ordinance that talks about going out for bid as well as asking this council to approve anything that is being accepted with the highest bidder. And I also asked about is this a targeted sale? And I was told no, because there is a chance for all the contiguous property owners of this lot, they can bid for it. Let me shed some light what this means. There are two small lots, 491, block 491.01, lot 33, which is 5A Clinton Avenue, and block 491.1, lot 30, which is actually it's 3A Clinton Avenue. What we were told, it's a neighboring property owners can bid on this. The fact of the matter is, if you look at the location of these lots, on the left of this lot, which is 7 Clinton, which has a lot of 49.01, lot 81, block 491, lot 81, which is 100 by 100 lot size, which is a confining lot which has a single family house, which of course will not be bidding for this one. If you look at on the left of this property, which is lot block 491.01, block 82, which is also 100 by 100, which has a single family house. Of course, that owner will not be bidding for this property. The lot which is in the middle, which is 27 Clinton, which is 491.01, 31 and 32, which is 50 by 100. RBB zone, which is 50 by 100, which is a non-conforming lot. And the right of that lot is 5A and left of that lot is 3A. So what we were talking about, hey, this is open bid, anybody can bid. This is not open bid. This is a targeted sale to a specific owner. And I got a confirmation, by the way, when we had the discussion this afternoon with the Chief of Staff. So when we draft an ordinance, say, hey, it is open for bid, we'll take the highest bidder. I don't know, is it really transparent communication? This ordinance is really mirroring, it's telling, hey, we want to sell it to this person. However, someone who has a confirming lot can also buy it. To me, which is insane. It should really go out for a public to bid, or this township should buy that 50 by 100 lot, put a park there, clean the property, put a park there, and give back to the residents. This is not a way to sell the lot, get the money, use that money for something else, and someone is going to probably build a 4,000 square feet house and sell it for $1.5 million. What is the benefit to the town? So in all fairness, when I heard twice that this is going to be competitive bid, to me, this is not a competitive bid. This is a targeted sale to an individual. And I also have the owner. If he or she is in hardship, I can understand, but that family also owns a single family house on Wood Avenue. So there is nothing that this council has to really act fast to sell this lot. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Any other yes, Councilman Brusher?
Yes, I'll tell you a concern I have. We had a realtor that came to me, I guess, a couple weeks ago. There was an issue where they had trouble selling the property. So the father owned one big parcel, split it into two. They built another home on the other lot, and they remained on their lot. When the person went to sell their home now, they couldn't, because they couldn't get clear title on a deed, even though someone else has been owning the other property for all this time. So I know our legal firm was working with them to try and resolve this problem. So if the township can lose a deed, right, that showed that another property owner actually lost it, how do I know that whatever we pass tonight that says that they can't build on it and that won't get lost, like that poor lady? So I just have concerns where we're putting it out and there's a potential for someone to take this. They can bid $100,000 and then they end up with a property worth $500,000. You know, so it's not like records are actually kept and we have them. And that's just one instance. There's a couple other where the township has lost records. The county doesn't even have a copy of the records. A building on Route 1, same thing. Went through planning and nobody can find the records for it. So even though we have this, I don't know that that's necessarily a safeguard. If anything, you know, put it out to bid so anybody from the public could bid on it, not just a specific targeted homeowner. That would be it, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brasher. Yes, Councilman Coyle.
I'm not comfortable tonight voting on this, but I just would be open to, rather than vote it up or down, I'm curious if Councilman Patel will consider changing his motion to just pull it, only because of just some people who may not have enough information. I mean, I get where we're at in making this decision, but I'd rather donate some to the utility easement than to give it to a homeowner in the event it just conceives to be a lot, an extra lot. So I just, that's my ask.
Thank you. Just for clarification, would you, if I can ask our attorney just to clarify what the process would be if there were a motion to table, since there's already been a second on the motion to adopt?
This is perfectly, this is the time, if there is a motion to table, that would take precedence with a second and a roll call vote. You could table this motion at this time. I'm sorry, and table this ordinance at this time. Yeah.
Council President, can I put a motion to table this?
Second. Roll call vote is in order. Yeah.
So even with council comments or anything like that?
There's a motion to table on the floor. There's a second. There should be a roll call.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this time, we will, Madam Clerk, roll call. This is to table the ordinance.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes.
It's tabled.
So ordinance 2179-2023 is tabled. Next, ordinance 2180. Madam Clerk, please read.
Ordinance amending the Township Code to add an address to the list of persons entitled to handicap parking space.
At this time, I'd like to open it to the public for any comments, questions, or concerns. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close?
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Or any comments from council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Ordinance 2181-2023. Madam Clerk, please read.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into deed easement of the clarification and covenants of the Shea track of the Metuchen Meeting House battlefield.
At this time, I'd like to open it up to the public for any comments, questions, or concerns. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close?
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman
was to close.
They
Oh, that was-
closed, yes.
Oh, I'm-
Yes. Your previous one too, you didn't.
I didn't,
No, that was the closing.
Yeah.
They were motion to close.
I am.
Yes. I thought I heard that. Somebody else did it, yeah. No. That's why I asked for the motion. That was
I-
to close.
So I apologize.
So you
At
need
this
a
time,
motion to adopt 2181.
my apologies. At this time, can I get a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President Harris. At this time,
We'll go back. We'll go back. Let's finish this one, then we'll go back. All right?
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Battil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
yes.
Now go back to 2180.
Council President, we now need a motion on 2180 to adopt. Yes.
Motion to adopt,
Second.
2180.
For 2180.
Yes.
So for ordinance 2180, motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel in regards to adopting the ordinance. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Battil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Ordinance 2182-2023, Madam Clerk, please read.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a deed of easement and clarification of covenants for the Ferrente track on the Metuchen Meeting Battlefield.
This time I'd like to open it up to the public for any comments, questions, or concerns. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Council Vice President Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public portion is now closed. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Battil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Next, we'll move on to new business. Proposed ordinances, public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. Ordinance 2183-2023. Madam Clerk, please read.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Edison in the County of Middlesex appropriating $20,450,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $19,524 in bonds notes to finance part thereof.
At this time, can I get a motion?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 13th, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. This time, council comments. Anyone like to make any comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Patil. Apologies.
Yeah, but it's again, I'm fully in support of this, provided by September 13th, we'll get the schedule, how we are planning to utilize this money. Next 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 year, whatever that schedule looks like, including the details of the project. Once I get the project, then I'll be comfortable voting for the adoption on September 13th. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments? Seeing none, there is a motion to adopt. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Or to
Council-
introduce, sorry, introduce.
Motion to introduce. All right. Councilmember Brescher.
Yes to introduce.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Battil.
Yes to introduce.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes to introduce.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Ordinance 2184-2023. Madam Clerk, please read.
Bond ordinance providing for various water main system improvements for the water utility in the Township of Edison, appropriating $9,500,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $9,500,000 bonds or notes to finance thereof.
At this time, can I get a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance to be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 13th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to introduce by Councilman Patel, second by Council Vice President Harris. Any council comments?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
I would like to get the details of all the water mains throughout the Edison Township. By the time we get this for the final adoption, that includes the condition of water mains, that includes not just for ours, but hopefully administration can work with Middlesex Water Company and also get the information about their water mains. So we are doing our own due diligence and not treating unfairly any part of this town. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patel.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman Ship Freeman.
For the bond issues, I would just like to see before September 13th, the amount of money on, like percentage-wise, like we received another plan that was from another company before. They let the people know that their gas would go up. I mean, not gas, I'm sorry. The water would go up 4.9% percentage-wise. And I just want to know about the burden of this on the actual taxpayer before I do this. And I would like to see some assurance that we're getting money from the actual iBank. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ship Freeman. Any other comments? Yes, Councilman Brusher.
Yes, could we get like a breakdown for like what each area is, so we know what a majority of this bond is for? It's for a bunch of different aspects, I understand that. But I want to see, like, if the asbestos pipe is, the predominant thing that we're doing here, or what aspect.
We'll break down in regards to each of the type of line items for lack of a better
Right.
term. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes, to introduce.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Just to introduce.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Ordinance 2185-2023. Madam Clerk, please read.
Bond ordinance providing for pump station rehabilitation and repair for the sewer utility in Edison, in Middlesex County, appropriating $18 million, therefore authorizing the issuance of 18 million bonds or notes in the township to finance thereof.
At this time, can I get a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration, and public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 13th, 2023.
Second.
A motion to introduce by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
by next meeting, the September 13th, I would like to get the details on the holistic plan of all the pump stations throughout this town, including the current state, the remaining life, and the plan for next 5 to 7 years to complete this project. Also, I would like the details on what funds we are expecting from the insurance, what funds we are expecting from the iBank. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. So that's details in regards to all the sewer pump stations, potential funding opportunities that would be received, and long-term game plan. Any other comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman Ship Freeman.
Within that, I would just like to know where we're starting at, because I know we have 21. So I would like to know what area of town are we starting with the replacement? Exactly, the street, like the location that we got, south, north, middle, all over the place. I just like to see where we're doing it first, because as someone stated before, that we have problems because we've overbuilt, and that's why we're having problems with our water, because it's already not up to par, but with the added extra, like if somebody's building like 100 apartments somewhere, and and they don't have the proper pump stations and stuff to take care of that causes a much bigger problem. That's just why I want to know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ship Freeman. So that is in regards to where those stations are located geographically in the township.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Council President?
Yes,
I
Councilman Coyle.
I received an email today with a list of pump stations and costs. and I'm satisfied with supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, there is a motion to introduce. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes to introduce.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes to introduce.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Ordinance 2186-2023. Madam Clerk, please read.
Bond ordinance providing for, for the township-wide water meter replacement program, project for the sewer utility in Edison. Appropriating $8,850,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $8,850,000 in bonds notes to finance thereof.
Thank you. At this time, can I get a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on the first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 23rd.
Second.
Motion introduced by Councilman Patel, second by Council Vice President Harris. Any council comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
Yes, for this one here, I know the administration is going to get us some information on costs that our finance person is going to put together. So, I mean, with that said, what we heard at the last meeting was that these smart meters, the good thing about it is that the public is basically going to have the opportunity to pay their bill monthly, let's say, as opposed to quarterly, right? So anybody that would like to let go of the funds out of their pocket earlier than expected will have that opportunity, which will benefit probably 0.5% of the people in the town. But the recouping of this money, if I took 3 people like we have, right, and the 3 people are doing this work currently, and if I allowed that each person with their salary, wages, and retirement package, if each one of these meter reader people are worth $200,000 a year, it would take 14.75 years to recoup the money for these smart meters. Now, that's if the useful life on this is 14 years. I know a lot of electronic things that we have, they break down. We need software upgrades, and we pay for them, if you noticed, with almost everything we do. So it just seems exorbitant, and it doesn't seem like there's a large benefit to this. And I don't know that the administration has even sold me to want to introduce it at this, present time. Just to tell me that a couple people that want to pay their bills earlier is why we should do this. I'm just not seeing why we should spend almost $9 million. We could probably build another building for another youth aspect somewhere. I mean, I'm sure there's other things we could do with $9 million, but it just seemed exorbitant. So that would be it, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Patil.
Yes, I have a huge concern on this particular bond item because this is going to hit 12,000 South End residents. And the reason I'm saying is we need to go back to the basics, basically, look at all the curves hall, look at the major issues on the water lines, update the ordinance, also find out, how we are serving the townhouse communities, HOAs, single-family houses, the missing water meters, before we taking a leap of, investing in something that is not a real priority at this point in time. Also, I'd like to understand if there is any possibility of grant. If we are getting money from federal or state or any grants, then possibly that's good to have and we can spend the money. But unless that is required, I think it's too early to invest on this type of infrastructure. And again, this shouldn't be the priority. Our priority should be basic quality of life of the residents. At the same token, I would also like, in case this body passes this bond, I would also like to understand the rollout plan, even though I may not be supporting this board ordinance. The rollout plan, the going back to the charter of the water utility, because what I heard from uh, our director that this work will be outsourced. If this is going to work to be outsourced, which as per the charter of our utility, water utility, we are not supposed to outsource anything except the emergency maintenance. And again, there are a lot of, I would say, either missing things here or the full-blown study needs to be done before really we should step in. And again, this is not something we should not do it. It's a good thing to do it, but we have to just look at, do we have the money to spend and what time we should spend this money. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Patil. Any other comments? Did you?
Council President?
Yes,
I was under the
Councilman Coyle.
impression that the smart meters are more than just metering for the customer. It's also a flow monitoring system for leaks. Am I incorrect? So is there a dual, I was understood that this was a dual operation investment, that we can monitor leaks and know when leaks are coming before the bigger problems.
It is my understanding that it would assist in certain leak detections. If it's okay with council, if I can invite Mr. Smith up to maybe clarify on that item.
Yep, Council President, just want to interrupt. If he's coming on board, I will have a series of questions for him on this ordinance.
It will help us with leak detection. Like I said previously, meters run slower, they don't run faster. Those meters have been in for a long time. I know we're losing revenue from inaccurate readings, and that's one of the big problems. That will help reduce our water loss, and that's something we have to do under the Water Quality Accountability Act. Like I said, residents will be able to go on their home computers. They could put alarms. They could set it up any way they want. They know they're spending too much more. They can actually shut their meters off at a certain point. If they go over 1,000 gallons, whatever the case may be, they have the ability to control their own water usage. This would be good, I feel, for the commercial industry in town. Instead of waiting for a quarter to get a $200,000 bill or whatever the case may be, they can pay it off monthly. And that would be revenue on a continuous basis, month to month, for the township.
Bob, who's the primary beneficial use of this? The customer who's saving the leak monetization for their bill usage so they don't run into a situation where their bills are going to be too high, or is it the township, or is it both?
It's both. It's both. If they're away on vacation, nobody's in the house, they come back and their water meter ran, they can look at it, they have a leak in their house somewhere. It'll let them know that. We do a service where we will actually, people call high bill, we'll go into the home and we'll look for leaks, and a lot of the time, just their toilet bowl flapper. And people don't realize how much water is wasted through their toilet bowl tank. And we've pointed out to quite a few people, they've had leaks in their house, and we've been able to point that out to them. That's another tool that they'll be able to see. They're gone overnight, they see their water meter running, there's nobody in the house, they have a leak somewhere. So it'll help them identify, it'll help us identify. We'll see instantaneous readings. It's a good thing, it's the way of the future. A lot of municipalities have gone to this. It will cut back on our meter service. We will have one or two technicians on calls who have to go address certain issues that a homeowner may have, or just to put their concerns at rest. It's just a service we provide, and this will be a positive thing for the township. And speaking with Neptune and their representatives, we should see an ROI of about 7%.
And as far as us buying water from American Water, I guess there'll be some savings there as well?
If we can cut down on the water usage and the leaks, sure. We won't have to buy as much from Middlesex or American.
Okay. I'm going to yield my questions to Councilman President, then to Patil. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Councilman Patil?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, Council President, one thing. This is only for the south side of Edison?
Yes.
Okay, so then the other side just have
They own the system. We have no control over what they do.
so so when we spend a lot of money, okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that it was for the south side only.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilwoman Freeman. Councilman Patil?
Quick questions. In last 2.5 years of your service in this town, how many people reported the water leak so far? out of 12,000?
Quite a few called about high bills. Our bills were never that high before. We set up an appointments, we went out, we looked, and we were able to identify leaks in quite a few homes.
Sir, my question is very specific. How many?
I can't give you that number off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay. Can you give me, if you don't know the number on top of your mind, can you tell me monthly volume of people complaining about the high bills? 2, 3, 10, 1,000,
Probably just under 10.
under 10. So there are 10, 120 homeowners, they are fixing their problem
Monthly?
monthly of the water leak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We're talking about $8.8 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My second question is, have you done any survey that how many people will really opt in?
They don't have a choice to opt in. We will put all new meters throughout the township, which we found meters that were years old that American never replaced. And I can guarantee they're running slower, and we're losing money, and we want to do away with that.
Sir, that was exactly the job of water utility, was to start replacing the water meters, which were very old if you are losing the revenue. And that's what my Monday's question was, how much money we recovered from the old water company, how many meters we had in stock, so that we can go and fix the problem. Again, I'm a big fan of fixing the basic things, not talking at 10,000 feet and investing in something that is not really needed.
Every meter that we replaced with a meter that we can just replace the head on it, and it would be a radio meter.
Understood. Do you know how much revenue you lost
No,
per year?
no.
So you can't, I don't know how you derived the ROI if you don't know how much revenue
I
you're
can't
losing.
give you a dollar amount of how much revenue we lost.
You just gave the ROI, 7%.
Our return on investment, if we do these meters, is around 7%.
So
It
our
has nothing to do with what we did in the past. That's going forward.
Okay, so we're expecting that your revenue will go up by 7% by putting this. So basically, homeowners will start paying more money.
They'll be paying for the water that they're actually using.
Understood, but that can be easily avoided by replacing their water meter rather than punishing all 12,000 residents. If we know that,
Well, how do we know whose is not
That-
accurate?
Sir, that was our
We would have
job.
to take every meter out, replace it, send it out to be certified, get it back, and then replace it back in.
Okay, so we are talking hypothetically here that there is a potential revenue loss. We don't know that for the fact,
We have a water loss issue in town.
but we don't have the facts. We are hypothetically saying there is a loss in revenue.
I know there's a loss.
And as I said, do we have the data to prove that?
I'll look into it.
Okay, so until we get the data, there is no point even talking about this ordinance.
That's not right. No.
Talk something, that
No.
will make sense or you will convince.
The meters were never replaced totally in our district.
Never replaced.
They weren't replaced.
Okay, then I think you should
I
go
can
back
show
to.
you meters from decade ago.
Okay, so sir, I would request you to go back into meeting minutes of the water utility when it was formed, the discussion all along 2 months where the discussion happened. What was the inventory back then? How many meters were replaced in last few years before we took over? So please read that before you come to this dais and say you don't have the information.
I did read that. That was American Water's responsibility. Now, they didn't put those meters in. What did the town do to them?
I'm not
We're
put-
trying to replace the meters now. This has been on the table for quite a while. We wanted to do this. We couldn't go ahead and do it without the funding. Now we're going for the funding through the iBank. That's why it's come up now. I wanted to do this 2 years ago.
Okay,
I can't do anything unless I have your permission or the administration's permission.
understood. I don't know why you didn't come back 2 years ago to this council dais when the water utility was formed, saying, guys, I need this X dollar to get this moving forward. You didn't do that, but
It
now
was-
all of a sudden,
No. It was discussed with prior administration.
it was not discussed in front of this council. Whenever you came,
They didn't
whenever
bring
you
it
are,
to you. I can't help it.
okay, either you speak or let me speak. I'm trying to be respectful. Okay, either you provide me the data, or you say I don't have the data, and insist that I need this. We are not playing here the kids game here. I need this, I need this, I need this. Show me why you need this and what's the benefit. That's only my question is. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilman Patel?
Bob, I had a question. You are pretty sure that there is a water loss. Why are you so sure that there is?
Based on findings that we've come across, old meters, slow meters, we know there's a water loss. Some of these meters have been over 10 years. They
Okay.
don't run faster, they run slower, and they eventually stop running.
Okay, and based on your experience, other towns, when they have replaced it to the smart meters, they have found that, the old meters are not working appropriately for this.
According to Neptune and their representatives, yes, there's always been an increase in revenue based on the old meters that were in the system.
So you're saying if we replace it, we will most probably increase our revenue? Great.
Yes.
Now, how many bypasses have you found since you started?
We found quite a few in apartment buildings.
Okay.
No locks on the bypasses, so at any time, they could go down there, open, close, and they're stealing water.
And this will help with that as well?
We will know if they tamper with the meter, we will know it.
So again, this will help with
Yes.
more revenue?
Yes.
So we won't necessarily need to worry about too much cost. And you already said in your professional opinion that there should be an ROI of 7% based on Neptune numbers?
Yes.
Okay. So there are a couple of positives there. It will also help the residents find leaks. Great, that's a good thing. Now, the only thing is the cost. Some people might not say that this is not valuable, but I think this is valuable to the residents. This is valuable to the commercial side, the business side. I think this is valuable in general, having accurate numbers for the town, so we know where the water is being used and what needs to be updated. If we don't know the data, and if we're just guessing, then it's not the right approach to running a town. That's my opinion on this.
Council President?
Thank
I
you,
just have 30
Councilman Patel.
seconds, Council President.
Councilman Coyle?
Okay, just, Bob, we're covering 11,000 customers with this,
Just under 12,000.
and they're all from the south end?
Yes.
Now, I did some homework just on doing a five-year plan based on 60 months. $9 million is coming out to about $13 a month across 11,000 customers. I see that as a good investment. It's been something we've been waiting for, and I support a lot of concerns of our council members, but I do know our chain of command is not part of you coming to this council and telling us what to do. You have to go through Mayor Lanke, Maureen, and they bring this to our attention. So to some degree, I understand why you didn't come to us earlier to say why or what. I may have heard this opportunity, but at that time, we didn't have the infrastructure bank in place. So on top of this, may cost us about $13 a month. There's a good chance it's going to be forgiven. So I think it's a good investment. I think for the people we serve in the south end, residents who have issues with calculating their meter and it being smart, good cost savings on being green. In a time of this month of August having this much rain, it's all great. But when there's a time where we're doing water saving exercises, this is certainly going to be a placement for that time when it comes as well. I know we're just introducing this. I hope that we can get the support to continue this. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other
Council-
comments?
Council President,
Just
he,
Council-
during the course.
Councilwoman Sher Freeman, Councilman Brescher had originally called for me, so Councilman Brescher, Councilwoman Sher Freeman, then Councilman Patil. Thank you. Councilman Brescher?
Yes, two questions. When we said that, you said that, like, I could monitor this in my house on my phone, right?
If you wanted to, yes.
Right, because everybody in the town wants another app to monitor their water. But my question really is the township going to monitor it? So are you going to monitor it and say, you know what, Mr. Brescher's daily usage is about 50 gallons a day, and we're noticing that Mr. Brescher is spending 150 gallons a day. Are you going to come and notify me of that? Is that one of the services that we'll provide?
That's what we're going to try to do, yes. All that information will go to the women in the finance office for the water and sewer, and they will be able to pull up accounts and take a look. They could set alarms for accounts. It's really helpful. It'll be a benefit to the residents. It'll be a benefit to the township in the long run. And probably at some point, Middlesex and American will go that route, because that's the way it's going now in the industry.
And my other question is, I do understand the need to change meters, right? I mean, you tell me they spin slower. Right, whenever the power company or anybody wants to come change my meter, I don't let you in my door. because I know that it's not to benefit me, right? Let's say that we don't go this route with these smart meters, and we just get regular meters. What do they cost to purchase? 11,000
I
of them.
can't tell you what a meter's going for right now.
Can you get us
Oh,
that?
sure.
Okay, because I'd like to see what 11,000 meters will cost us. Because if you're going to tell me if you're going to tell me it's 7 million and it's an extra million to get a better product, I get it. But if you're going to tell me it's 1 million, then I still stand where I stand. Those were the two questions, and just for anybody that's listening or watching, my council colleague here did the math, and it's probably only going to add $1,000 to everybody on the south side. But that will be spread out over years, right? Or you're not going to hit them up all at once. Okay. But the total cost works out to be about $900 a resident, a home, correct? Okay. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Councilwoman Ship Freeman.
Oh, no, I was just asking about when the water utility was set up, and we had McDonald doing this stuff. I just think we spent all that money for him, and then we switched over to another brand. I'm glad that you're saying that the other people are probably going to get the inside meters too, because I noticed water was leaking from different other places and whatever. So you with the meters inside, and you told me before that you wouldn't lose your workers, they would come inside and they would read the meters inside. So they would be able better to let us know what's happening. So like, for instance, somebody comes here to a meeting, a senior citizen, somebody, and they say, wow, my bill is outrageous. Would that meter kind of gauge, so if their bill had been consistently this much, then all of a sudden when it would go up like that, like you said, from the toilet, it keeps running and running and running, that would be able to distinguish that?
We could pull up that data, go back and look at it and see where actually it started to spike, and tell them the date, the time, and they may say, oh, we had, a bunch of people at our house, we had a park, whatever the case may be. Yeah, we'll be able to go back and look at that data and pull it up.
Any other comments, Councilwoman?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Councilman Patil.
I'll have very brief questions, just continuing my earlier. Do you know how many households Middlesex Water Company is serving?
No.
Okay. It's very interesting that we don't know within our town how many households are served. But anyway, do you know that who else is using smart water in Middlesex County, any town?
That are using smart meters? I'll get you that list. There's quite a few.
Do you know at this point in time?
I
In
can't.
Middlesex County, I don't want something in Hoboken or, we are not here to replicate Hoboken. I just want, do you have in Piscataway or Woodbridge or in Metuchen or anywhere around surrounding towns?
Maybe East Brunswick. I'll have to go back and look, but I think that there's a couple in Middlesex County that have smart meters.
Okay.
We can get you a list of towns.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll get you the whole state if you want it.
Perfect. I'm going to talk to Middlesex Water Company. They did call me based on my Monday's comment because they are one of the largest water company in state of New Jersey. And if they are not planning to put the smart water meters, that becomes questionable investment even for us. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patil.
Council President.
Any other? Yes, Councilman
Last
Coyle.
question. Bob, does
Yes.
this at all, okay, first question is the 11,000 customers a combination of residential and commercial?
Yes,
And would this monetization keep tabs of theft of services?
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Smith. There is a motion to introduce and a second. No more council comments. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes, to introduce.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. I did write down the questions. I'll try to summarize and send out an email tonight. Ordinance 2187-2023. Madam Clerk, please read.
Bond ordinance providing for gravity and pressure collection system assessment and rehabilitation for the sewer utility in the Township of Edison, New Jersey, appropriating $15 million, therefore authorizing the issuance of $15 million bonds notes to the finance thereof.
At this point, can I get a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 13th, 2023.
Second.
Motion introduced by Councilman Patel, second by Council Vice President Harris. Any council comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Patel.
Yeah, based on what I heard on Monday, the answer, if I caught this correctly, this is one phase study that's going to cost us $15 million. The first and second phase was done by the other company during the sewage study, if that my understanding is correct. My question is how much money we spent or how much money we paid to the other company for those two phase studies. The second one is, my second question is, are we expecting any more phase or going back to the phase 1 and 2 and we are going to ask more money because this is 15 million just for one phase? Basically, I'm looking at the holistic plan for study of our sewer system. That's number 2. Number 3 is I heard that there are only 2 companies in the entire nation, which I doubt. I will send you, Mr. Smith, the case study from Rutgers on INI study. I'll send you the case. I will send you the paper, which is 50 plus pages. I was reading, but I couldn't finish that. So hopefully you can read that and learn what towns they were probably looked at that. There are 2 towns, to my knowledge, they have done the full-blown, not only the study, but as well the repairs. We should go back and check how they handle this. And just for reference, if you have not done that, Franklin Township and Plainsboro Town, if you can go back and look at how they handle the situation of INI and how they patch this thing. Again, those could be smaller town, but it's worth to look at and learn the lessons and not to reinvent the wheel and spend the money the way we are expecting here. At the same time, I would also like to know what's going to be our total investment in the sewer, not just based on the study, but anticipated. I know, Council President, you sent the 5-year plan, the investment, etc., but I did not really see that crawling all across the 5 year. It was just for 1 year, 2023 or 2024. Also, if we train our own people, again, I don't think this is something, as Councilman Brescher mentioned, how the study can be done, and if we have done that for phase 1 and 2, if it is possible for us to hire our own professional or train our own people, and possibly we can use them for some other town to service, would be more beneficial. So we have the in-house, the talent that will be available. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Any other? Yes,
Council
Councilman
President?
Brescher.
Yes. At the last meeting, we talked about this, and we were talking that we do have an employee, and he does camera out our lines, and he does a couple thousand feet a day. We did hear that we had somewhere like 350 miles of pipe, and 301 mile of pipe is 5,280 feet. So 5,280 feet times 350 miles is like 1,000,008. If the guy does 2,000 feet a day, it takes 924 days. So we're saying that's like a 4-year project for one man. And again, I don't know what the employees make, but if their total package is worth $200,000 a year times 4 years, that would be $800,000, not $15 million. So maybe the numbers we were given were a mistake. Maybe this should be pulled and we should get all the correct information. But how my calculations come out to 800,000 when we're asking for 15 million, something doesn't add up. Yes.
Sir, do you mind just mentioning your name and
Sure,
where you represent, just for people's reference?
Yep, David Kusiniak. I'm with T&M Associates, engineering firm for the water and sewer
Thank you.
department. This $15 million is not $15 million for inspection. It's $15 million for inspection and construction. So the inspection part of it is accurate. Like you said, there's 350, I think it's actually 320 miles of gravity sewer, and a camera can basically do 1,000 to 2,000 feet per day. So you're looking at somewhere on the order of 900 days or whatever that number was. I agree with you there, of the inspection time. Out of that inspection work, the town is required to repair whatever they find. So the way the iBank works, we first do an investigation, and out of that investigation will be the design work and the construction work based on what was found. The $15 million includes the first phase, and I think Councilman Patil, when we were talking about phases, there's 3 phases to this program. This is the first $15 million of a 3-phase program to do the inspection work and do the repair work. We don't actually know how much the repair work is going to cost, because until you get the cameras in the ground, you have no idea what condition the sewers are actually in. So the $15 million covers an estimate for how much repair work will actually be found based off the inspection work. The inspection work itself to do the entire town is probably somewhere in the order of $10 million to do the entire town for inspection, and then all the remaining work is going to be construction work. That's the gravity sewer system. There's a force main system as well, which is the pump stations pump into pipes that are under pressure. There's about 27 miles, I believe, of force main. That force main all needs to be inspected. The 2 companies, Councilman Patil, that we're referring to are not for who can do the engineering work. They're not for who can do the gravity sewer inspection work. There's essentially only 2 companies in the country that have the camera equipment to send down the force mains. One of them is actually located right here in Edison. It's one I've worked with previously. It's not my company, but they're a vendor who does this work. They have high-tech camera equipment. They have high-tech sensors that they send down these force mains and give you back all the information on the condition of the pipe. And from there, you make decisions about what needs to be repaired. That's also included in this $15 million. So for the $15 million is phase 1 of those 2 programs, which are all required by the administrative consent order, which states that the entire collection system, gravity and force main, needs to be inspected and repaired. And they gave 9 years to complete that entire program, 5 years to do the gravity sewer inspections, 2 years to do the force main inspections, and then the subsequent repairs work off a sort of rolling system. For what you find in 1 year, you have 1 to 2 to 3 years, depending on the which program we're in, to make the repairs.
So, just to be clear, we're right in our assessment for just looking at it.
For just looking at, right.
A majority of this money is basically just your guesstimate, right?
A lot of it is an estimate for, it's not even an estimate, it's
It's
an
a
unknown.
guesstimate.
Right, there's
So
an unknown.
Wouldn't the proper procedure for a body like this to be for us to approve, right, looking to find out what the problem is, then you give us the details and the camera footage, right, and everything for us to look at to see how bad this really is, at which point then you as a professional engineer would put together a professional estimate, right, and tell us, you have X amount of feet, as opposed to the like you're basically asking for a blank check.
And this isn't my check. I'm not the one doing this. But I agree with you that a phased approach, there's sense to doing a phased approach like that. The reason this ordinance is here is because to go to the iBank requires that we have construction tied to the investigation. So the way the iBank will do the funding is if this funding gets approved and the iBank application goes through, the iBank will approve the investigation part of the project. From there, you need to go and get the design part, obviously the construction part completed. If you wait, you have to fund that investigation part and then go back to the iBank and say, okay, we're ready for construction now. Please give us a loan to cover the investigation work that we've already incurred, and now here's the construction work that's going to come out of it. This approach is that you go to the iBank up front, and the iBank gives you the money for everything from the start, and then you can draw down off that funding as you progress. You have to get to the construction part anyway, because that's the only way iBank will actually reimburse you for the money.
Okay, so you're telling, where do we pick the number from? What made us pick 15 as opposed to 50? Or you said this is a phased approach, right? So why didn't we go in at 80 million?
Because the way the iBank funding works, there's a time limit on these applications. Once you start the work, you have a certain amount of time to complete it in order to get that reimbursement, to get the loan, basically. There's you have 2 years that you're allowed to do the planning part of it, and then when you're done with that, once you enter into a construction contract, you have 3 years to complete the construction phase. So if we were to put everything together at one time, because we have a 9-year timeline, we would have issues with making that schedule. So by breaking it up, it allows the town to phase the work that they're going to do, attack the areas that have high I&I now, and then do an initial phase, and then start the next phase in a year or 2 years, whatever the time might be, because that 5-year clock is going to be running throughout the entire 9-year program.
But let me ask you a question. I see projects done all the time, right? They do billion-dollar projects. They're not really phased. They go in, they start doing the whole project. So why can't we do the whole project? Why do we have to phase it? Like if it was a money thing, right, where we had to bond the money and we don't have the ability to bond the money, or the taxpayers don't have the ability to pay the money, but what you're telling me is I'm going to get a interest-free loan that's going to be probably forgiven, is what we're told. Then why don't we just do the whole thing? Like what I'm saying is where you are with the 15 million, and when I say you, I get it's the administration, right? The whole thing. Either come to us with the actual number that you need, right, or come to us with some kind of made-up fairy tale number to get everything done all at once. There are contractors, right, and we hire union people, and the halls have union people, so we call and we get more people. I don't understand, I guess, the premise of doing something halfway. And it doesn't make sense because it's only a guesstimate. So as long as you're going to guess, well, what the heck?
Yeah, there's nothing, I don't think, being done halfway. It's a schedule that's set by the administrative consent order, which says that in year 1, you have to inspect 20% of your system. In year 2, you have to inspect the next 20%, and for 5 years. So this first phase is to reflect those first couple of years of inspection work, which will lead into the first couple of years of construction work.
I'm saying, what's the benefit of doing it in that, that decree was made up by an attorney, right, and the state. So we had an attorney, the state, well, there had to be somebody had to negotiate the terms, right?
Correct.
But if we have the ability just to get it done, then why not just get it done?
It's a,
State wanted it done in 5 years.
yeah, this is a very large undertaking. The construction work that's going to come out of this is going to end up potentially tearing up a lot of the town. There's considerations for that, how quickly you want to get this construction work moving. So the idea from the whole ACO is to identify the areas that were high I&I, and Councilman Patil, when you talked about those first 2 phases, that was the early phase, was actually identifying where the I&I is in town, or at least where it's the heaviest. Those are the areas that'll be addressed first. And then to do a phased approach for both the inspections and the construction work according to the requirements of the ACO schedule.
But you could do it faster. I mean, I don't think...
You could do it faster. This is going to be
the ACO, right? That's the state. So if you got it done faster, is the state going to penalize you? No, the state's going to penalize you if you don't do it quick enough, correct?
Correct. This is the ACO itself is a very aggressive schedule. It's going to be a lot of work to even meet the requirements of the ACO. The force main inspections, which we have 2 years to complete, essentially one company who does that work said that they could probably get the work done in 2 years. They would have preferred more time, but that was not something DEP was willing to give more time on. So that's a vendor that is pretty much the only game in town who does this work, and you're subject to their schedule and their availability and their ability to get the work done. It's just a very large undertaking of labor and construction and everything else that has to happen.
Okay, that's an opinion. I mean, right, that's a
Yeah.
big project for you and for your firm, probably. There's other firms, I think, in the city that probably wouldn't be that big a deal, but
This is
that's okay.
This is a
It
big
was
project
good.
for anybody. And
No, it was just enlightening that I, found out that this is the guesstimate. That's what Suez did to us when they came in, right? Their numbers were a guesstimate based upon no data or facts. It was just on a useful life type of thing. I was hoping that, right, we would have more data and facts at this point.
this
But,
sorry, I apologize.
Council
That's it.
President?
Right, okay, that's fine. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Councilman Coyle.
Now, I was under the impression that we're cameraing all these lines. That's not true?
That is true. You're
Okay.
going to.
So how is that a guesstimate if you're cameraing the lines?
The guesstimate is not in the, what it's going to cost to do the inspection. We received pricing from vendors who do this work, so we know about what the cost will be for the actual inspection. The guesstimate is what you're going to find. So until you put the camera down the line, you don't know whether or not that pipe is crumbling or not. So the guesstimate is, again, it's not even a guesstimate. It's almost a placeholder because we don't know what we're going to find. And you have to have the funding in place so that you can start making repairs as you find them.
So-
And if we find less, you'll spend less.
So essentially, you're going to evaluate every pipeline in the town.
Every pipeline that, yes. every
So
pipe-
we're not guessing what we're doing, we're evaluating every pipe in the town.
Yes,
Fair enough?
yes.
Okay, the word guess. Back in the day, Councilman Brescher and I, and Councilman Joyce Shipp, and Councilman Patil argued with McDonald because they did a study based on useful life. So they basically just went through the town, went through the books of paperwork that was 40 years old plus, and just basically guessed on what knowledge they had through historic data and historic employees, and assessed what and where the next break could be, and what should be a critical, repair and what may not be. So today, after you're done with this, several council members on this dais have complained where the next break may be and what we can do to solve this problem. Is this going to put us in a better place to know where the next break could be and identify that and make that repair?
Yes, this inspection will find the pipes that are vulnerable to breaks.
Okay, so when this is done, we'll be in a better place.
Yes.
And whether we choose to do this today or bond this today, as Councilmember Shipp decides to vote or not, if we don't do anything, the state will just come and do this work.
If you don't do anything, the state will come fine for not meeting the requirements of the ACO.
I don't believe that, yeah, I'm not believing it's going to happen considering the fact that we've done nothing for 30 years, now all of a sudden we're doing a lot. I would assume there'd be some courtesy that we are making headway more than we've done before.
Yeah, and I'm not saying if you don't approve this, I'm saying if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't.
I know,
don't
no, I'm with
follow
you,
the
but
ACO.
yeah, and I'm with you on that too. So, and how many, I'm under the impression we have about 33,000 sewer customers, is that correct? It's around 30 to 33,000? Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at about, divided by 480 months, it comes to about $31,000 a month if we were to divide this across 40 years. Divided by 33,000 customers, they're looking at about 9 cents a month per customer to do this. Now, again, we're being forced to do this by the ACO, and we also may have this opportunity to this be forgiven. I think it's a great step in the direction a lot of council members have been looking for, the same council members that we all fought to make sure Suez was doing this. Are we committed to a contractor, or we're just showing that what contractors are available to do the job?
You're not committed to any contractors to
Okay.
do this work right now. This is, I believe, purely so that the iBank.
So once we introduce this, if this council decides to introduce it, if this council decides to pass it, we'll have another opportunity to approve the contractor that's doing the work.
I
'Cause it-
believe so.
It-
There's a resolution on for, a blanket resolution on for 6, I believe, engineering firms that we had put an RFP out.
Okay, so today, we're not that's not part of this. Okay, good enough. Thank you, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Brasher.
just for clarity, to determine what the guesstimate portion is, the evaluation portion is about $1.3 million, and that's a pretty solid number, right?
No, it's going to cost more than that to do the evaluation.
What did you just tell me before the $1.3 million was for the guys to go through and scope the lines?
No, I said around 10 million to scope the lines
Oh, 10 million for them to scope the lines.
for the entire system.
And then,
That's for, yeah, that would be contracted price for a third party to come in and TV the lines.
but, okay. But if we did it, it's one guy for 4 years.
Can't do it. There's only two companies in the country that do this.
There's only two companies that do it for
They
us.
use LiDAR,
Okay,
sonar.
wait, let's take this back a step, because I guess maybe, I don't understand SOAR lingo, I don't know. We have 350 miles roughly of SOAR pipe, correct? And I'm gonna take 27 miles off for the force mains, right? Because that's what we said, right? 27 miles of force mains roughly?
The 300 is the gravity sewer, the 320 or so miles. That does not include the force mains.
Okay. So, the gravity mains, we scope them, don't we?
When we have the opportunity, yes.
Okay.
We're not out on call.
Oh, listen, the manpower thing, right, that's an administration issue, right? But basically, we said that one guy could do a couple thousand feet, right? And what I came up with in my math, right, was that's the one guy for 4 years at 200,000 a year is 800,000. But what you're telling me is that I need to spend 10 million to look at it. But you tell me that our guys can't do the force mains, so I could understand that, right? You'd need some extra equipment, right? You'd have to come to us for it and have to get some training. But even at that rate, that's only 27 miles worth. So out of the 10 million, right, what does it cost to hire the company that you're talking about, the only company in the world, or the only two companies in the world, to do 27 miles of force main?
We have to get this done by the ACO schedule. We can never get it done internally by the ACO schedule, and we could never,
Well-
or the equipment. that
Well,
we
here,
have
wait.
to put into the force main.
Well, here, let me just, I'm not a genius or anything, right? But I did own a company for a while. So I had one man for 4 years. If you hired 3 men and you bought 3 more cameras, then in 1 year, you could do it in half the amount of time than this special company that you're telling me is going to take them 2 years. So the 300 or so miles we could do, and you need them for the 27 miles. So it wouldn't even take them 2 years because they're only doing 27 miles. But, again, is there something wrong with my math when we say a couple thousand, right? You heard my math. Is
1,000 to 2,000 feet per day.
Okay, I allowed 2,000 feet a day, and I came up with one man for 4 years. So if my math isn't off, now I also allotted $200,000 for the man, and you and me both know that his package isn't 200,000. It's probably 100,000. But I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, and that's where I came up with the 800 grand. But I can't substantiate 10 million when I'm looking at a cost for 800. That's why I asked you to.
So the costs that we get, the cost for inspection run in a range of $6 to $8 per linear foot of pipe. There's also 7,400 manholes that need to be inspected. The manholes run a couple $100 per manhole. So that's where the roughly $10 million came from to inspect the entire gravity sewer system.
Well, okay, would we consider us doing the easier work like I'm talking about? And when they get done with this, because you're so understaffed, right? I'm pretty sure that you could find something for them to do, whether it's in sewer or water. But I'm saying, as opposed to us paying someone 10 million, if you hired the manpower, like my council colleague was saying, that in our charter it says that we're supposed to do anyway, right? But what we're doing here is circumventing that. What would that entail? Would that just entail you going to the administration and looking for some additional headcount to make this happen?
Sure, and if you want to give me permission to do that, I'll do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be the administration, right?
You got to get at least 3 camera trucks. They're about $450,000 a piece. And then we'll have to hire 2 guys per truck, if not 3 guys per truck. You have
Well,
to have
you
safety.
told me, well, Bob, wait, now here we go. We're getting out of the truth realm here. Because at the last meeting, you said you have one guy that's
One
doing.
guy.
Okay,
And
so
you
if you
wanna
have,
do the
wait,
entire system.
just hear me out. You said you have one guy and he does a couple thousand feet a day. Now what you're telling me is you need the truck and 2 guys in each truck. Is this a special truck, this new truck you're getting that needs extra people?
It's a camera truck, yes.
Well, how are you doing it now with one guy?
And an outdated camera truck. That's
I-
how we're doing it, with one guy, because it's an outdated truck.
So the outdated camera truck uses one guy, but your new technology you have takes 2 guys?
You're going to have the guy there for safety, yes. Somebody's going to be in the truck running the equipment. Somebody's going to be lowering it down into the manhole, setting up cones, barricades, signs, so we don't have anybody killed out in the middle of the road. Yes.
Well, that's, listen, the safety aspect of it is entirely up to you and for you to run the department. My question was, you told me you have one guy. Now you're telling me that you need 2 guys per truck. So the story changed from Monday's meeting when you said you have one guy that does this to today when you're saying we can.
And we do not do 2,000 feet. We maybe do 2,000 feet a month.
Okay, Bob, when I asked you, I'll
I
go to the
understand what you
record.
asked.
Well, I can go to the record. Please, wait, I'm speaking. I can go to the record. You said at the meeting, one guy does a couple thousand feet. So are you telling me that you gave me, it was an incorrect statement then?
I feel that we are starting to stray from the ordinance itself. I understand some of the relation with it.
Well, Council President, I'd just like to say I'm trying to get to the bottom, and the story's changing as we're going. Anybody that was here at the meeting would understand what I'm saying, but now it's changing to
It's
something
not
else.
changing. I cannot predict what's going to happen from day to day. If we get calls of people at blockages, we have to go out, clean it, and TV it. He doesn't have a straight day where he can do nothing but TV in line. We have calls continuously. We have calls off hours. I can't dedicate somebody just for that.
Council President, I'll tell you, I'll stop my line of questioning. It is obvious that the story changes, the numbers change, and even if we doubled the numbers of the 800,000 that I was saying, right, and we doubled it and it was $1.6 million, it still doesn't come close to the $10 million. And that's just very simply my point. So I'll just end it there for you, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Any
Council
other
President, I have
comments?
only a couple of questions.
If I can just
Sure.
request, because this has been a 23-minute conversation, I try to be fair to make sure that we ask the question. We have a service professional here. Unfortunately, he was unable to
Absolutely.
stay at the previous meeting, so if we can just
Sure.
stay to the questions. Thank you.
So
Councilman Patel.
this ordinance is $15 million. If I got it correctly, this is one phase. This includes the inspection and rehab, means repair as well. That's true? Correct. Have we included engineering fees? Do we know if that involves designing or any unknowns or anything into this?
This includes, based on the linear footage that would be inspected, and it includes engineering fees as a percentage of that work, yes.
Okay. So my request will be to get the details of those split up, for every linear feet, what's the repair estimated cost, engineering fees, the inspection fees, all those. Also, I'd like to know how many vendors, you received the quote.
Excuse me, I just didn't.
How many vendors you received the quote from when you were
um,
putting these numbers together? Again, you don't have to answer
Yeah.
right now, but you can provide that information offline. And my last question would be, if you can please compare what other towns has done. Again, I'm an IT guy, I say don't reinvent the wheel. We are not the house of innovation. Let's reuse, let's go back and what others have done successfully, let's implement that. So I would request you to go back to the Franklin Township and look at how they have handled this situation. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Any other comments? Seeing none, there is a motion to introduce with a second. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Abstain.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes, to introduce, expecting information by September 13th.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes, motion passes. This time, we'd like to open up to the public for comments on the resolutions only.
Council President, before she starts, do we need everybody from the DPW here? Because I don't think.
As a,
All the supervisors
the-
from DPW, because they
the
are just waiting and
departments are
listening
here.
without.
considering it's under the administration's directive.
Under the administration's purview, they were requested to be here to provide any background information to the council, so they are here.
Okay, you expect every single supervisor will be able to come to the podium and speak. Okay, thank you. Because this is, that will be billed to the township. Thank you, Council
Councilman
President.
Patil. Apologies, Maria.
Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson.
Thank you, you're recognized.
Thank you. R470-082023. I'd like to say my support of the Edison Jets Pop Warner project. I had a few sons that played on their team, and we appreciate their service for the youth of this township. R483-082023. R484-082023. I'm also a member of the Municipal Alliance, and I'd like to give my support on the programs that they provide for our Edison youth. I had a question on R494-082023. I think it was answered, but I wanted to know why was there a need for another engineering company?
Before we respond, are there any other questions? I want to make sure we get all
sure.
the questions and
One more.
absolutely respond back.
R515-082023. Noticed or heard today there was an article in the paper, NJ.CJ, talking about this contract. My concern is first, did we do a survey of the crossing guards that we already have working with us to make sure that we're offering them all the availability services, such besides per hour rate and insurance and mileage reimbursements and uniform expense? Our first concerns are always for the residents of Edison that take care of our children. Even if this is going to pass, there will be not another company there for quite some time. So we're still short crossing guards, and it's the utmost that our children are secure going to schools. Thank you.
Thank you. To our business administrator, you mind just explaining about the engineering, the pool of engineers real quick?
Sure. With all of the projects that are in the bond ordinance presented before you, we thought that having a pool of engineering firms would be the appropriate step in order to go ahead with, be well prepared for these projects.
Thank you for the clarification. In regards to the crossing guards, I believe you had mentioned previously a survey was done. Did I understand that correctly?
The township did its due diligence. We did negotiate this with the crossing guard union, as well as inform them exactly what was to happen. As far as the plan, I'll leave it to Captain Gerba to let him know exactly what's going to happen operationally.
I'm sorry. So in the interim, while we're waiting for the ordinance to pass through, we're going to have police officers man those posts. We're going to retain the crossing guards that are already in existence to man the posts, and it's going to be a hybrid of the two, manning those posts for the time being.
Thank you. And do you have any information? I believe in the RFP, it said uniforms are being provided by the vendor. Do you have any insight as to the insurance or any mileage reimbursement that was asked?
I apologize. I do not have that information right now. I'll consult with the chief.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I think anyone else from the public for resolutions only? Well, Mr. Sweeney, sorry. Sorry, I saw him.
Rich Sweeney, when it comes to crossing guards, when it's awarded, when crossing guards don't show up and we supply police officers, are we going to be reimbursed for their hourly rates? That's my only question. Thank you.
To the administration, would it be reimbursable? I was under the impression in the RFP that they have to submit weekly timesheets, so they would be charged off of whatever was actually performed.
Again, I'm going to have to consult with the chief on this. I don't know the exact, I can't speak for what the company is going to provide, whether they have substitute guards or not. That's the part where we'll have to ask and clarify.
Thank you. Sorry, I had called for him. I'll get you next.
Robert Sesselberg, 37 Colton Road. And
Thank you,
on
you're recognized.
the topic of the crossing guard contract, again, I have known for a while that this was coming up. We've been trying to find information, could not find that much information. First question, $900,000, is that for the 1 year or the 3-year contract? And also, how does that compare to what we're paying now for our crossing guards? I know other people have mentioned, uniforms, stop signs, will that be provided, or are they going to have to purchase them? We're getting no information. You mentioned that it was agreed with or talked to at the union. There are crossing guards out there who are not in the union, have not been notified. Their meeting is tomorrow at 10:30. Their yearly meeting where they all come in and get, whatever they need to know. So a lot of these people are going to be blindsided, including my wife, who's a crossing guard. Training. I happen to go on the Crossing Guard Services website. It says all crossing guards will be trained and background checks. Who's paying for that training? Is the crossing guard going to have to pay for their own training and background check, or will it be done by the company? Job security. I know it's been said that any existing crossing guards will be kept on. Is it going to be at their same rate of pay, or are they going to be dropped? Are they going to be dropped in hours? Currently, they get 3 hours a day. Is that going to be dropped down to 2? Will they be able to keep their same post? And again, it mentioned about substitutions. If a crossing guard calls out sick, a lot of our crossing guards are, senior citizens, fixed income, but they don't like to come out in bad weather, which is understandable. And again, it was asked, and no answer tonight, of will we be reimbursed by this company, or will they be paying our officers when they have to go out and cover these posts, and will all posts be covered? Or is it just, okay, well, we don't have enough, so we can let that post slide today because there's not that many kids on it. And I think that's all I have to say.
To our business administrator, would you like to address any of those?
Sure. I myself have been in communication with the crossing guards and the union, so for the last year and a half. Just to clarify some points with what is included in the scope of work. So all of the current crossing guards would be offered their same positions provided by agency approval. There'd be field officers, there's also the wages, the tax, everything, they would be employed essentially by this company. All of the, there's a 30-day termination notice for long-term contracts for anyone that's hired under here. They have to meet all of the New Jersey training requirements, which is a minimum of 2-hour training and 20 hours of new hire would be conducted by this company. Equipment included would be jackets, gloves, hats, stop sign, reflective vest, raincoat, whistle, and ID badge. Background checks, all of the things that would occur during onboarding for new employees. This company would provide that. There's actually a $250 referral bonus program that this company offers. There are site inspections, and there's a crossing guard scheduling system. So they provide the full scope of the scheduling of all crossing guards that would be onboarded.
Thank you for the
Again, one
clarifications.
quick question. So they will be continuing at their current rate of pay?
I recall in the RFP, it said that the Edison base pay is $19 per hour.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. You answered some questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Conway.
Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle.
Thank you.
I'm just another person questioning the crossing guards. They're a vital asset to our township and for the schools. And my question is, we haven't been able to fulfill all the posts. I thought I saw somewhere there's like 53 posts, and right now we can only cover 46, and sometimes they even double the posts. My question is, years ago, crossing guards came under the police and they got benefits. And many crossing guards jumped at the idea because they were making more money through benefits than they were making in pay. And you had quite a few that I knew personally were working for the benefits rather than the pay itself. So now we're bringing in a company, I thought said they were from, the company is from Connecticut, and now they don't get benefits any longer. So how is this company going to entice more crossing guards than you guys if the rate of pay is the same? And we've been looking for them for quite a while. It's almost as bad as the bus drivers, trying to get bus drivers. Well, what are towns doing to get more bus drivers? They're raising the rate of pay. So what can we do to entice more people to make them come out for 3 hours a day other than just $19 an hour? Should we go back to benefits? I don't think so. I think it's great, the people that were getting it. But how can we entice more people locally to become crossing guards when a company in Connecticut is going to be able to do it, is my question. If we can't get them, how are they going to do it? Are they paying the same? Sounds like they are. So what benefit are they going, and we're paying them $900,000 per year for 3 years is what I heard? So my question is, how are they going to satisfy? Because I know it's very costly to use the policemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Before handing over to the business administrator, if our attorney can just clarify in regards to the benefits.
Sure. In 2011, the law was changed, and that's the reason why they can't receive benefits, is that it's just, there's a certain amount of hours under state law that you have to work in order to get benefits, and unfortunately, they don't qualify. So that's the reason why, even if we wanted to, we couldn't reinstate that benefit. So I just wanted to just address that one
But
issue.
what I'm looking for is, I knew we couldn't do the benefits,
Yeah.
but what enticement can we
I
do
can't-
to bring more guards than a company from Connecticut?
Maybe someone else can address that. I just wanted-
Because
Okay, I'm
they're not doing it for nothing. Let's put it that way.
I just wanted to address that one issue that you had raised, because I could address that legally. I don't know, I can't speak to the company.
So it's
Yeah.
really something to think about before reaching out to a company. What are they going to do that we can't do to entice more crossing guards, other than making it more enticing?
Sonia, would you like to comment in regards to?
Sure. With one of the things that came up with the vacancies, and in the event there are vacant crossing areas, they do have a contingency for having an alternative list and overhires. So that is part of their contract, that there is an overhire of this. Like I said, there is a field supervisor who would take those spots. So we are hoping to not have any of our police officers take those crossings. This is all on the company to be able to do that. Additionally, they are also looking at higher rates. So in anticipation of enticing more people to do that, not having to take that on as the township, obviously, you know, the cost of insurance, even though they don't get the health insurance, we do have to cover each employee when it comes to our premiums.
My apologies, something had come up. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. De'Amron.
Anthony De'Amron, 25 Wiley. Just to clarify, Council President, there is no guarantee that the current employees or current crossing guards from town are going to get hired, because if they have to go through another, I guess, background check, there's no guarantee. And if they cleared a background check with us, I don't know the reasoning for another background check. And some of these crossing posts are not easy. If you go to James Monroe, I mean, it's tough to dictate traffic over there. So if you're not familiar with the area, and if they're going to bring people from outside the township, I don't know if some of these people will even last. So there should, in negotiations, I feel like there should be some type of guarantee that any current crossing guard that wants their job should have their job. To go through a whole other process now seems counterproductive, in my opinion. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. My understanding is that they are offered the position, but I understand the point. Anyone else wish to speak on the resolutions only? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Council Vice President Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The public comments on the resolutions is closed. This time I'll ask my council colleagues if there are any resolutions to pull for a separate vote, starting from my right, Councilman Brusher.
515.
Councilman Coyle.
None, sir.
Council Vice President Harris.
514.
514. Councilman Patel, apologies. Councilman Patel.
It's 466, just for one clarification, 495, and I think 515 is already covered.
I'm sorry, 466, you said?
466,
And what was the second one? I'm sorry.
495, and 515, I think Councilman Brescher already pulled that.
That was already pulled, correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilwoman Schiff Freeman.
No, I can't, I don't see any right now. I discussed it on Monday, so I don't have too much.
And none for myself. So the consent agenda shall consist of 465, 467 through 495, 496 through 514, or 513, 516 through 519. So that would be resolutions that are polled for separate vote. 466, 495, 514, 515, and 519.
Correct.
Did I miss any?
No, that's correct. Need a motion.
So at this time, can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt.
Seconded.
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, seconded by Councilman Patil. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Yes, so,
I didn't have 519 on my list either.
Somebody pull 519?
Did someone pull 519? No.
oh, did I miss?
No. I was gonna say, I didn't
No
hear
one,
that,
no,
so I
no
will.
one pulled 519, no one pulled.
So just to make sure, I just want to make sure, there are four resolutions
Make
pulled
sure I
then.
got it. 466, 514, 495, and 515,
Madam Clerk, that's correct.
right?
Yes.
Four.
No 519.
No, 519, right?
So-
Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay,
Right,
so
just wanted
the-
to make sure we got the record right, so.
So then The motion was from Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President Harris. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman. Yes. Council President Pointer.
Yes. We'll go numerically. 466, Councilman Patil.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I'm just pulling this for a question, not that I'm not supporting this or something like that. I brought this question several times, but I would really like to get the answer now. Otherwise, I will keep voting no on this type of resolution. This tax sale certificate, if you go back early on year, I did insist the lower interest rate capping, but I was told we cannot do it. My question is, what is the benefit to the town? How much money we got paid out of this $568,671.25? What is the net benefit? Because we do send the letters to the delinquent tax owners, and we need to recover this money. That is what I was told, but I would really like to know what is the benefit to the town.
Sorry. So this resolution is for the refund amounts of tax sale certificates that were done in prior tax sales. The question is again, what is the benefit of the tax sales? It's just for the township to receive the monies when the residents cannot pay the taxes in a year by the end of the year, so the township could receive the money from the investor so we could complete the budget that we envision to receive for that year. That's the main benefit, that why that law is there.
I understand that. The process I understand, the benefit of recording money I understand. What portion of this money we keep? What is the return for us? Again, there is an email thread that said, we keep some money, that I heard from Kane last time, but he was not able to give the number, and that's why I'm asking the number, what part of the money out of, I'm not saying 568, there could be much more, somebody's depositing money, could be interest, could be something else, I don't know.
So the money at the time of the tax sale, the township keeps the money of the cost that we have increased, the interest that we charge up to the day of the tax sale. When we receive the money from the investor, and when at the point that we are getting the money back to the investors, we are not keeping any money. The township does not keep any money at all. The only money that we are keeping at this point would be the interest that we have received from the bank for the premiums that the investors have given it in advance.
Do we know that interest?
The interest,
I'm just looking at the dollar amount, that's it.
no, the resolution does not list the interest. The interest has been accumulated on the bank statements. It's the interest that we receive by bank statement for having that money in the bank.
Okay.
Because these are premiums that we keep and we cannot touch. It's like a trust money. So we just keep the interest on it.
Okay, I think, we are not getting anywhere with this question. I'll send a clarifying question via email. There is already an email thread on that. Again, there is a confirmation from CFO that as we do have some financial benefit with this tax sale, but if you don't have a number, that's perfectly fine. I'll send the follow-up question on that. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Any other questions or comments? For myself, actually, in regards, now that you said that, I think I better understand what the request is. In the Excel sheet from the backup, we might be able to formulate an equation in it to auto-populate what, at least the expected interest rate or payment to the township that would be remaining within the township.
Understood, Council President, but I expect that calculation to be done by the finance team, not by the council member.
Understood. At this moment, can I get a motion on the resolution?
Motion to approve, adopt?
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. 495. Sorry, Councilman Patil.
A question to our engineering head on this one. I did visit the neighborhood, Yolanda Drive. I did not find any pipe anywhere. I don't know, it is the different road or what is scope of work here? Where we want to do the excavation, it is the sewer line, what exactly the scope here?
This is for the sewer line.
Sewer line on the road of Yolanda Drive?
We're talking about Yolanda Drive? Is that what
Yes.
we're talking about? Yes.
Because I did visit the neighborhood, I don't see any open manhole or anything there, not a drop of water on the road. What exactly we are doing? I heard last time we are replacing the pipe.
Yes, sir.
Any reason we are replacing the pipe? Is it because of some leakage?
Some leakage and complaints we've been receiving from the neighborhood.
Okay, okay, let me ask another question. Leakage from where? I know Karen Drive, back of the Karen Drive, there are a bunch of the houses which has a problem, water problem there. It's a slope, there is a water line, residents are complaining they cannot put the, pretty much anything in their backyard because it gets flooded. But on Yolanda Drive, it is pretty much crystal clear.
May I offer a comment just from the engineering, when we approved the engineering resolution from last year? Just what was in that report. It said in the overview that the drainage issue requires roadway reconstruction to address improvements from Karen Drive to Durham Avenue. So hopefully that clarifies the
Correct.
length. And it had mentioned includes replacements of sidewalk, curb and gutter for ADA compliant curb ramps, drainage improvements, limited base course repair, and road resurfacing in regards to the scope.
Okay, so this is not really Yolanda Drive project. This is really Karen and Durham. That again, Durham is a whole different road altogether. Between the Durham and Karen Drive, there is Yolanda Drive. So I'm not able to understand where this
It
work.
should be Yolanda Drive, but using those cross sections as the starting and end point.
Okay, refresh my memory. Is this we're talking about the pipe leaks? That's what the sewer line issue or sidewalk issue, or what exactly the issue we're trying to fix?
The sewer water system, the storm water.
Stormwater.
There's buildup there.
Okay. If my memory serves correctly, this road was paved very recently, not even a year or two. Didn't we recognize the engineering study? Probably we did. We spent the money on that area.
We'd
didn't-
certainly restore it back to its current condition.
Not question that. Before paving, we typically do that study if there is any major problem in that neighborhood. So did we miss that study, or engineering firm didn't bring it to our attention, and now we are spending the money there and we have to again rip the road and restore the road? It's a cost to the taxpayer. I don't know who can answer this question.
I just pulled up the paving list from 2022 to 2019, because that's what's on the website. I don't see Yolanda Drive as the main street. I see it as like the secondary street. So as an example, in 2020, it said Lydia Lane as Yolanda Drive to Karen Place. So it wasn't Yolanda Drive. It was using that as a benchmark. So I don't see it within at least the past 4 paving lists, Yolanda Drive itself being part of the list.
It's not just Elena Drive, it's that whole neighborhood was paved. And again, I was on that road today, and I did call a Councilman Brescia saying, I don't see anything here, I don't know why we are spending $200,000. But, I don't want to spend too much time, there are residents waiting in this, but we really need to go and, we have this throughout the town, this type of patches. I'm not worried about that patch. But I'll take that offline conversion. Thank you, Council President.
What,
Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman
the
Sheffield.
clarification, Yolanda Drive, they're gonna dig it up and put the sewer in, right? And then redo the street afterwards, correct?
It would be doing the drainage improvements and then reconstructing the street and the curbs and sidewalks.
Or you're gonna reconstruct them, they're here now, but you're gonna reconstruct the curbs and the sidewalks after you do all of that properly? Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure, because some other people said that they need curbage and stuff too because of their flooding and other stuff, so, all right, so now I get it, that you're gonna have to dig it all up and then do the street again. Okay, you're talking about the cost, correct?
That's fine.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, so we're going to be replacing curbs?
That was one of the line items.
And are we charging the homeowner? Like, are we going to, well, I don't know, I think you were here, but I guess a couple meetings ago, I asked whose responsibility is the curb and the gutter? And we were told that that was the homeowner's responsibility. So are the homeowners in this area, are they politically connected to anybody? Or are we going to add to their taxes for this? Because I called about a problem with a curb, and I was told that that's the homeowner's responsibility.
The issue here, Councilman Brescher, I'm sorry, you were finished?
Yes.
Is that there's a drainage issue, so it's not the curb. Your example, I'm assuming, is just curb related, but this is more in depth. So obviously, if we're going to tear up a street, we have to reconstruct it.
Well, I understand the street coming up. So there's a street, it's called Kearney, right? And Edison Township came in, and they tore up the street, and they repaved it. But over the years, because it was a cul-de-sac, the curbs have gotten destroyed. I mean, we run the plows along the gutters to clean them up. The salt eats into the curbs, and it's deteriorated on the cul-de-sac on the end of Kearney Drive. And I was told that that was the homeowner's responsibility, so I told that homeowner, and now that homeowner could be watching this meeting and hearing that we're going to be replacing curbs for some other residents. So my question is, do these residents there have some kind of connection to anybody? Or what made us do only the curbs for this road, but we won't do curbs for other people? I guess
These are
is the
not
question.
curb-related improvements. These are improvements related to drainage. So if you're tearing up the entire street, you have to reconstruct it back so that the drainage issue is remediated. I guess I don't want to lose track of this actual resolution, Council President. I mean, you can certainly talk to Councilman Brescher about the actual condition of Kearney Drive if he would like to send me an email.
I understand the point that you're making, because we've had several correspondences in regards. My understanding is because, to the BA's point, it's part of a larger project. That's why it is included. So as an example, with the Jackson Avenue project that has been proposed, the curb replacement as part of that overall project was inclusive in that one as well.
Well, that one I understood because you're widening the road.
Mhm.
But over here, it didn't say we're widening the road. It says we're reconstructing it, the road. But the road isn't part of the curb because the curb belongs to the residents. That's my only point, is that, to me, I don't care. I think the township should take care of all the curbs, right? But it should be for everybody, not just for select people. That's where I'm kind of going with it. So when we do road projects, right, I believe we should take care of the curbs also.
Council President?
But that's, Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
Just a question. So are we tearing up the curbs because of we're replacing the sewer lines for the stormwater?
Yes,
And that's why we're fixing it post?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other?
Council President, I was just under the impression that it was just a disturbed area, and for the catch basins and the improvements they're making for the drainage, that area will be improved. And I looked at this text, this Google Maps, Yolanda Drive has not been paved, there's potholes everywhere, and the current curbs of the residents are in good shape. That's just what I have on Google Earth. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, can I get a motion on the resolution?
Motion to adopt?
Second?
Motion by Council Vice President Harris, second by Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. 514, Councilman Brescher?
That's me.
Oh, sorry,
That's okay.
Council Vice
That's
President
okay.
Harris.
Yes, so I have a question. Who is Hart Halsey, and in management and administration of the police off-duty details, let me break this down. Police off-duty detail, is that our own police off-duty detail? Is this from the Edison Police Department, off-duty? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I need some clarification on what that means in terms of this company doing the management for that.
What this essentially does is when outside vendors, for example, Menlo Mall, those entities, what they do is say they have a system where they go ahead and, with this extra duty solutions, and they hire our own police officers, but they do all of the payment issuing through that mechanism and the scheduling as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments in regards? Seeing none, can I get a motion on the resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Councilman Patil, seconded by Council Vice President Harris. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel. Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Resolution 515, I believe that one was Councilman
That
Brescher.
one was, yes. Anybody that's seen me sitting up here or anywhere knows that I believe there are certain functions of government that government should do. We argued about SUAS, that SUAS should be a function of government, not the private industry. And in that whole fight, and that was part of the discussion today, comes the debate whether you outsource, right, or you do it in-house. And I believe that our sewer and water should be in-house. I believe that our crossing guard service should be in-house. And to hear from any administration, whether it's the prior one or it's this one, you know, that we can't get people is an unacceptable answer to say that that's why you want to outsource it. There are certain things that I think the private industry should do themselves, such as municipal broadband, right? So there are items that the private sector should do, and there's items the public sector should do. We had a resident come up, Ms. Conway, and she did ask, you know, was there anything else we could have done? Well, a very simple thing that could have been done could have been that we spend $200,000, from what I understand, on the police department to fill in for our crossing guards, and we're going to pay this company roughly $100,000 more than, well, than our combined cost, right? So now our cost is actually going to go up. Well, a thought would have been if you would have taken that $300,000 and divided it into the 53 posts, I think somebody said, it comes out to around $5,000 a year. if you would have offered the additional $5,000 on top of your $19, I'll bet you'd get more crossing guards, and we wouldn't be in this predicament. So, right, as a function of government, and being that I'm here working for the government, I just feel that this should be something that should be done in-house, should not be outsourced at all. And that's why I asked for this resolution to be pulled. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other comment? Councilman Patil.
Yes, thank you, Council President. If I look at, thoroughly this contract, I think there are many, I would not use the word misleading, but disconnected things here. As we all know that the current crossing guards, I don't think, most of them are doing this job for the money. It's their passion. But if you encourage more people, definitely we'll be able to fill up. My concern here with this whole outsourcing is, first, this company is not based in Edison, not in Middlesex County. It's all the way outside. I don't know how they will be able to attract more manpower to put on these posts. That's number one. Number two is control is going out of the hand. What that means is, even though we are saying, hey, we'll offer you the job, the current crossing guards, there is no guarantee that they will get the equal respect, the respect they are getting as of today, because they will have a whole complete supervisor. It's a private. They might get fired maybe for small thing which they are not supposed to, maybe if they're absent. This company will also not be protecting any benefits like sick leaves or any of those, or maybe somebody has a pension, etc. I don't see exclusivity of that in the contract as well. We never know. This private company might even transfer one person from one post to another post, even though typically it happens in the corporate world. If you want to get rid of an employee, transfer them in a different department or give them a hard time. Possibly that could happen very well here. To me, there is no protection to our own residents who are serving or doing this thankless job. I don't know who comes for 3 hours in today's time and era. I think we should be looking at more out-of-the-box solution, possibly looking at can we add auxiliary police if the cost is a concern here, which have not seen yet. And even if this resolution goes through, I don't think there will be any benefit to the town, because we'll end up spending same amount on police force. There will be backup, they will come back, they will keep covering it. And I don't see there are any clauses. I think, one of the residents did ask the question, what if those what-if situation that their guard don't show up, then we need to provide our police officers as a backup, and how we're going to get reimbursed? I don't see that's even a possibility. So it's going to derail even our police force planning in terms of deploying them on the ground. And again, it will be injustice to the residents if we don't know that plan. It's going to derail the whole this thing. With those reasons, I'll definitely not going to support. I really would like to encourage this administration to find an innovative ways of hiring more local residents who will be connected to our kids and our children and the township residents. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patil.
Council President?
Yes, Council Vice President Harris.
Yes. Question. It's clear that we have September 6th is coming upon us soon, and I believe we are not going to, even if we approve this, we're not going to be fully staffed at that time. Is that correct?
We are staffed with police personnel and fill-ins.
What is a predicted timeline for being fully staffed and getting this in full operation?
According to the bid specifications, there's a 3-week phase-in, so that includes onboarding and having folks dressed and then proceeding to make sure that they have the training if they don't already have training.
Where would the pool of possible candidates to take these positions, where would that be drawn from? Would that be drawn just from Edison? Would it be from any outlying towns?
There is a guarantee in the contract that our folks get get priority.
No, I understand that. I know that the existing people get that priority, but I'm asking for all the open positions, where would that pool, where would the pool be mined from?
This would be through their hiring pool. What I may suggest, and I would refer to council, is in the event we come up, we still need to formulate the contract here. This is awarding to the company, and that we could stipulate that as Edison residents would have an opportunity to be hired under this company. Again, that's a legal question, if that's possible.
Okay, he's not here right now. Okay. The question, that's okay. The question was about if we were to approve this, where would, for the empty posts, where would the people come from in terms of interview candidates for this? Would it be just Edison? Would it be outlying towns? How would that work?
No, my understanding is that, yes, they could go outside of town if they were not able to fill it with individuals from Edison.
Okay. And if we reject this particular resolution tonight, what happens at that point?
Essentially, we would need police officers to cover those posts, and that obviously is at a much higher rate. So the coverage in that would bring us back to square one, where when we did do the analysis, there would be a long-term, first of all, it's not just a costings, it's also finding people to cover these posts.
Okay. Yeah, I do have concern. My number one concern is the safety of our children, and that's a number one. And I feel like we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, because obviously we don't have the man and woman power, so to speak, to right now to be being at these posts, and it's been a problem, and we've had to use our police department, and that takes them away from other things. That's not a good thing. And yet, on the other hand, we're up against this deadline that's coming up, and so I'm torn about this particular situation. And I know that we thought we had someone, and then that we had a company, and then that fell through. But we're up against this 2-week deadline now. And I agree with the concern about this being a company that's not in Edison, not in New Jersey, but in Connecticut. And are there no other companies that do this that would even be in the state of New Jersey?
So we went through the bidding process. Legally, we had to do that. And this was the second time we went out to bid, because the first time there was an error with paperwork. But just to clarify, their company, rather, the ownership is based out of Connecticut, but they are in New Jersey. They do operate they have operations in Wayne Township, Demarest, Montclair, Parsippany. Those are just a few that they currently operate. I believe also Westfield operates, I'm not sure, not necessarily this company, but another company does privatization for crossing guards. So it is not uncommon in New Jersey to have this manner in which we hire contract with crossing guards.
Are you saying that this company, the towns you named, are you saying that those towns utilize these services?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President Harris. Councilman Patel?
Just to brush up on my history, how long has this crossing guard issue been going on?
This has been before my time. I actually came into the issue and delving right into negotiations with everyone and trying to remediate how to engage in more crossing guards. In that, one of the reasons was we did increase the rate, but that didn't necessarily fix the problem we had with getting crossing guards.
Okay, so essentially this has been an ongoing issue, and this is one of the solutions that we have come through after years of trying various methods.
Yes,
to
sir.
Keep it in-house, all right. One of the questions I had is, what happens if they cannot attract more people? But I feel the answer to Councilwoman Harris's question, where they have already an established service in other towns, so they already have an established pool of employees that already work for them?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
so they-
exactly it. They have to have established a pool of employees.
Okay, so they already know what kind of, what things works to attract crossing guards. Great. Now, one of the questions I don't understand is what happens if they cannot man a certain post? Do we still have to cover it?
They're required to have alternates.
Okay.
And in the absolute end result that a police officer needs to take over, obviously, the safety of our children comes first and
Okay.
our residents. That goes without saying. So that would be the very last resort. But there is a pool of alternates.
Okay. So they have a backup, and then in the backup of backup, the police officers
Correct.
will be there. Okay, so we have backups. Good. Now, so they have 3 weeks to onboard, and within 3 weeks, so if we do it now, would that be enough for the September 6th start?
We can certainly be aggressive in reaching that goal.
Okay. So the main thing is we have to think of this as not just crossing guards as in-house or crossing guards through this company. I think what we have to think of is crossing guards versus police officers. And I personally think this is a smarter choice. We have been trying to fix this in-house and it has not worked. And thinking about the safety, we do need someone there for our children. And if we can get a professional company to handle this, especially since they have been handling other towns, I believe this is a good move for town. And if in a year's time it doesn't work for us, or whatever, how long is this contract for? 3 years? In 3 years' time, if doesn't work, we should try out another solution. But I think this is a good solution to try and to see how things go.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilman Patil?
I just have two questions for our administration. What's our current spend on the crossing guards? Not just an employee, total, what's our budget? How much we spent last year?
Can I get back to you on that question? I can pull that up if you just give me a
Sure.
minute.
Because that's very important, And my second question is, the company that is in question, even though it is not a New Jersey base, is the same company providing the service in the neighboring towns that you mentioned? Because there was kind of a disconnect in the answer what Councilwoman Harris asked. You said this is not an exception. There are other towns that are taking the service, but I want to clarify, is it the same company providing those services in the other towns?
They're different companies.
They are different companies, they are not the same. So this company has not operated around our neighborhood. It's an unknown entity at this point in time.
This is what they do. Have they done Edison? No, but we had to go through the procurement process.
I understand. I just want to clarify, Councilwoman's question, because I think her understanding might be, guys, we need to be in discipline. We shouldn't be talking when Councilman is talking. Attorney? Council President, we need to put the council meeting in the...
Let's show our colleague the same respect that he has shown us in the past. Thank you.
I know, again, this is not, as I said, we are in serious session. This is not a funny business. Residents are waiting. You are on a camera. You cannot go in a back with two council people and start talking when someone is asking a question.
Excuse me, Councilman, I just want to clarify for the record, is that I'm often
You told me to sit
asked
down.
questions from council members with various legal questions that they need in real time, and I'm providing that service to them. So my apologies to you if it distracted you from your comment, but it is a common occurrence in my time.
You can
with
go in a
to
back
do that.
door and talk to the council people, not
Okay.
in.
But
in this
sometimes information, because it is a serious matter, they need information in real time.
room. Okay,
Council President, can we table this?
again, we need to maintain the decorum of this council dais.
Okay, going forward, if
I'll
there are
second
any...
that motion.
Council President, there's a motion pending.
Council President, motion to table this?
There's a motion to table by Councilman Coyle, second by Councilman Brescher. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Batil.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yeah, and Council President, I want to make the comment here. I know my counsel colleague might need the real time, but I think this is an attempt, knowing that this probably resolution might fail. And that's why attorney is trying to talk to the council member, which is not acceptable.
Let's not make it.
That's completely untrue. That's a lie.
No,
Point
if
of order,
that's not true,
point
you
of
can
order.
go in a
We're-
back door
let's-
and you can talk.
Going forward, the request on my end, if there are any legal questions, please do it in the back. Let's not make any insinuations about what.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. So that resolution has been tabled.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move on to oral petitions and remarks, starting from the list. Mr. Hahn. Right here, Mr. Sweeney.
I thought I'd never get here. Rich Sweeney, 313 Sutton's Lane. Yay, yay, yay.
You
Can't you
recognize.
people meet with these engineers in a conference room and ask all these questions instead of inconvenience these workers that have to get up in the morning and the people that pay taxes in this town? I mean, you got to ask questions before you get here. I mean, that's what meeting rooms are for. That's what conference rooms are for. But besides that, the reason I came, council had answered my question earlier before the meeting, thank God. Art Cifelli, does Art Cifelli live in Edison? Arthur Cifelli, does he live in Edison? Why does he have so much influence in this town? Why does he have so much influence in this town? I'd like to know that. But anyway, first and foremost, the gentleman sitting behind me from the Department of Public Works, they're the best. They're the best. Let me tell you something. Whether it's spring cleanup, fall cleanup, chipping the trees, snow, you name it, they're the best. They're the best. I've lived in this town many, many years, and I see a big improvement in this town as far as cleanliness. And Joe has nothing to do with that in Clara Barton. Just like we have the best police force, and you know, regardless of what Mayor McCormick says, Edison has the best police department in this state. But anyway, please, I mean, come on, meet with these people that you don't can inconvenience all these people that you sit up there saying the same thing, same question, same answers. It's ridiculous. It looks foolish on TV, whoever's watching it. But thank you for answering my question about the commissioner as far as how he dictates to taking people off the line and putting people on the line. And I still a little confused about that, but you know, Edison is a great place, other than Sutton's Lane's traffic, you know, but I'm glad, you know, I'm glad to see everybody. I'm glad to see you're back. And Joe, I was a little confused when you were talking and you mentioned whether Ms. Shipp votes on something. I was a little confused about that statement. Can you, through the chair, can Councilman Coyle answer me?
If he wishes to respond, it is a question. I've permitted that.
I don't know why you pointed out Ms. Shipp.
I'm not sure what day or time you're talking about. I comment
right
on a lot of
tonight,
things.
I can get the tape and bring it back
I
to you and show
comment on a
you.
lot of things I disagree with Councilwoman Shipp. So which day are we talking about?
Tonight. Talking about tonight.
We didn't speak on any issue together.
I can get the tape, and if you want me to replay it for you, I can get the tape. But I don't think it's fair that you point out one councilman when you have a few
Again,
councilmen.
if you can identify what happened tonight, please speak forward on it. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was whether she would vote on something or not.
We didn't discuss anything like that today.
Monday.
No, it wasn't Monday. It was tonight.
Listen, I mean, some
It
days,
is tonight.
listen, you're on point a lot, but today you're not.
All right.
Listen, I'm just, you're
Well,
one of my-
really, I mean, these guys sitting behind me, they're the best. They're the best, man. I don't know how they do it, especially when it comes to fall and spring cleanup with all that trash that's out there. God bless them. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for a point of clarification, I do extend a contact out to each council member here, asking if there are any questions or concerns on the agenda. I know that the administration offers during working hours if anyone would like to meet to discuss items. So that's all I can say in regards to that.
Council
Next on-
President?
Next on the list.
I was going to ask him, tell him, I don't know what he's talking
Next on the list is Ms. Orchid.
Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson.
Thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you. On Friday is going to be an Indian-Pakistan event at the Royal Grand Manor from 3 to 11. This Saturday is house music at Lake Papiani from 12 to 10. First, J.P. Stevens versus Edison High football will be at the new J.P. Stevens Field on August 31st. Simcoe's Raid Revolutionary War at the East Jersey Old Town will be on Saturday as well. The Friends of the Library will have a meeting at the Clara Barton Library on August 28th. Labor Day concert at the Roosevelt Park at 4 p.m. on September 3rd will be featuring the Beatles Revision Band, tribute band. Beautiful Edison and Edison Environmental Center will be having a cleanup at Silver Lake. Volunteers are needed on September 9th. If there are any events, please let me know. I'll be happy to include them on the list, or you can visit me on Instagram. I'm very disappointed in the mayor not appointing Nisha Kumar to the Human Relations Commission. We're in need of more people for Diversified for Edison, and there, for some reason, people have applied, but the mayor hasn't appointed anyone. So we're indeed need of more members. The Fall Family Spectacular on September 23rd is looking for more vendors. Please be mindful of the first day of school on September 6th. Jackson Avenue is a mess. We need to discuss the traffic issues before going to widening the street, making it safe for our students and residents. How can Edison attract more businesses to our area so we can lower the rates on taxes for the residents? And what kind of tax incentives are there for our seniors? Thank you.
Thank you. In regards to tax benefits for the seniors, just as I believe there's the Anchor program, there's a one-off of that is offering senior tax frees along those lines. I'll get you the information afterwards. In regards to attracting new businesses, I know my councilor colleague to my right has often mentioned about establishing an economic developer role within the township. Obviously, we have the Chamber of Commerce and other avenues as well that do try to promote businesses. Any other comments in regards to questions posed? Seeing none. Next on the list, Adeline. Adeline? Apologies, I didn't want to mispronounce the last name.
My name is Adeline Galino, 36 Jefferson Boulevard.
Thank you.
I want to address it about Optimum. On June 24th, 8 o'clock in the morning, they came to my door, no appointment, no nothing, to install the Wi-Fi. I said, I don't have a computer. I said, I don't have an appointment. Nobody told me. Well, he said, lady, if you don't do it now, you won't have any TV. Now he came 8 o'clock, he left 4. And all he did, I have 3 TVs. The modems were hanging in the garage. He only put 2 boxes. I had nothing on a 3rd TV. Now this is Saturday, I call on Monday. We'll be there on the 27th. Nobody shows up. Call again. We'll be there on the 3rd. These are all subcontractors. I know that. So he comes. Now this is another different one that comes. And then I have other line. I have TVs I have a 2-family house, and there were too many TVs to put, so I have two cable bills. Now we got to have another subcontractor come to fix those. Well, I get a bill for $324 that I don't know what I'm paying for, right? So I finally got someone And I tried to explain to her, I do not have a computer. And big deal, they gave me a $5 credit for not having to send me a bill. So I did get a $27 credit. Now, I feel that the council should have someone from Optimum address this to the seniors. They are insulting our intelligence, and they're taking advantage of it. So I really feel something should be done. They have a monopoly here. And I've lived in Edison since 1958. I'm furious with this, really. I just don't know what else to say. So the TVs that go off, they're not working. You can't get anybody on the phone. That's not that department. This is this department. It's really sad. That's only one part of the story. There's other parts that I will not elaborate. But I thank you for listening to me, and I would appreciate if you would look into this. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Just real
Council
quick,
President, I'm
can I just-
scheduling someone to speak with all the seniors at the building. I spoke to someone, they're going to speak to the seniors at the senior citizen building
I
on a couple
appreciate
of days.
the clarification and the information. And I also believe, Councilman Patil, are you the liaison for the cable committee?
Yes.
My apologies. Afterwards, I'll overview what was discussed, and if you can bring it to the cable committee, I'd appreciate it. Councilman Coyle, did you have a response to one of the
Just want to
questions?
know if Marlena could get her full address and contact for me to share with our new point of contact.
Understood. And anything in regards to the question?
Right. I was just going to say that I was on the cable committee, and when you bring your complaint and you bring it to the cable committee, of which now my council colleague, Mr. Batil, is on, he has a contact for someone with Amazon, and they've resolved every issue that's been brought to the committee, normally within a few days. So I think Mr. Batil can definitely help you with that.
I will address
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Next on the list, Mrs. Tarr.
Lois Tarr, 52 Reeder Road, Edison.
Thank you.
I'm here to thank the DPW and their director, Ray Piero, for the fantastic job they've done on that gallery downstairs. They're there to help us whenever we need it. It's going to be an opening pretty soon, I hope, with a History of Edison exhibit and Thomas Edison, especially the parts of the district that relate to Thomas Edison. And they have just been there anytime we need them, and I think they need a round of applause for everything that they do. And I also have a question for Captain Gerber through the chair, the president.
Yes.
When a police officer is taken off of duty to cover a crossing guard, he's actually taken off his actual role, correct? Either patrol or traffic or wherever you take them off of?
Yes, that's correct.
So actually, we're losing a police officer's actual assignment to cross kids when that occurs.
That's correct.
And they're being paid at their police rate.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We are off the list. Anyone else wish to speak? Ms. Conway?
Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle.
Thank you.
I would just like to follow up on something that Maria Orchid had mentioned regarding the Human Relations Commission. I had applied to the commission maybe a year and a half ago, and never heard anything. And then finally, this past December, I was called in for an interview with the mayor and his chief of staff. And then come December, I was put on the agenda and I became an active member of the commission. When I went to the meetings, the people at these meetings have great ideas. The only problem is there's not enough people on this commission to truly do anything because there's not enough minds being put together. And Maria came up with this Nisha Kumar. What an intelligent, lovely woman who had great ideas. But at this point in time, she hasn't been approved. And I don't understand what the holdup is. We had a meeting last night that had 4 people. Did we come up with great ideas? Did the chair come up with an organized meeting? Did we accomplish things? Yes, 4 people. We should have at least 10 more people on this commission. And I don't understand what the holdup is. Now, when I went and I spoke to the mayor, and Bob Deal was actually there, they seemed so gung-ho. I was so excited about being appointed to it, and nothing has been done. I was the last one appointed, and that was at your December meeting. So if you had any pull, could you please talk to the mayor and say, you know, could you move ahead with your applications for people that are truly interested to be on the commission? And if any of you are successful, I'd really appreciate it, because you know how I'm annoying and I come back every month? This is my new proposition because my tree is gone. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will disagree. I do not believe you are annoying.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman
I'd like
Freeman.
Ms. Conway to know that every council meeting I come to, I ask that same question for you guys. I don't know why you don't want inclusion. I don't get it. And I told them a lot of incidents have happened that would be better handled by a Human Relations Committee, because I belonged to many of them in Edison for years. But evidently, it's not a priority to people. You know, it's not a priority. But I'll keep on banging the things together every time I get a chance. Maybe somebody wants inclusion. Maybe. It's a long haul.
Thank you.
Thank you
Anyone
very
else
much.
from the public? Yes, Mr. Diamond.
Anthony Diamond, 25 Wiley.
Thank you.
I apologize if you guys have spoken about this. I was away on vacation for a couple weeks. The bike lanes on Old Post Road, many residents had reached out. I used to live in the area. I'm not there anymore. But what was the reasoning behind that? If you guys, because it seems as if, you know, I lived there for a very long time, right in that area, and it never seemed like there was a high demand for bike riders or whatever. It just seems like it is, and it takes part of the lane and goes onto the Boulevard of Eagles, I believe. So drop off, you know, a lot of parents are concerned about drop off and stuff like that. But I'm just curious to know what the reasoning behind that was, and in the sense of, you know, out of all the things in town to do, how that became on the priority list. With that said, I'll move on. As far as the water is concerned, Councilman Brescher and Councilman Patil, great questions. Absolutely great questions. I believe, I'll just say this, I believe it's almost like it's set up to fail in a sense right now. These numbers are astronomical. I mean, it's just, I believe you said, if you were wrong by 200%, you're still, you know, you're what, still like 8 million or whatever it is, more. It seems like the water department is stretched thin, as Bob Smith had said. And just sitting back here, I went on the website. There's no job postings. Why aren't we hiring in those departments then? If they're really stretched thin and you're asking for 9 million, how come we're not offering any jobs? Neither for the sewer. I didn't see anything for the sewer either. So if there is, I stand corrected. But it seems to me that this is just a lot of money, more money being spent. And, you know, those questions you asked, Councilman Brescher, were legitimate questions. And then as far as, I'm in Clara Bar now, the Speedway gas station, you know, listen, after 8 o'clock, I am you're taking your life in your own hands, you know, so to speak. So but the amount of trash that is outside there, it is very unfair. We spoke about this before, Council President, privately, but it is, the little one I take out, we usually go once a week to pick up trash, and it's just for him to get out for community service. But it's not fair to the other residents because it's just a wind tunnel there, and it blows into the neighborhood. If it was me, I'd send somebody out there, and I'd find them every day that they're not picking it up every single day, because it's just, you never see anybody out there cleaning. So what happens is it's just being blown into the neighborhood, and we're cleaning it up. So it's just not right. So thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Dameron. Two questions I got. Reasoning behind the bike lane specifically at Old Post Road. Not sure if Councilman Patel, I know you've been spearheading this, and not to put you on the spot, but was there a particular reasoning behind that specific location?
So I spoke to the engineering, and I want to say, not calling this a priority, this is something that we, as a town, been trying to accomplish since 1994, so it's been close to 30 years. So we do need to make progress in terms of why we need to do it. It has a lot of benefits, including one of the closest things, that there's a high school there, and this will allow the kids to bike to school. Hopefully that will help with the school buses and the drivers not being there. Ultimately, it gives an option to the Edison residents to have an alternate ways to get around town, and hopefully helping with traffic. So in terms of why Old Post Road was picked, I left it up to the engineering and their professional opinion. What we do want to do is build a bike path throughout the town so residents can ride around, and we don't want to create orphan pathways. That is what the term the engineering used, essentially pathway that leads to nowhere. So we're trying to build around schools, parks, commercial properties, retail spaces, so that the residents can have options to use other means of transport.
Just from a technical standpoint, does he still have time?
You have 1 minute.
I appreciate that, Councilman Patel. But if the area there is, like I said, there's I understand in a perfect way. Yeah, you would like bike lanes. I get it, but it's tough to intersect. You have the ShopRite people pulling out of the ShopRite parking lot. It's just not a inducive, I don't encourage people to ride their bikes on Old Post Road. That's the point. So I believe it's creating a possible dangerous situation. And I would, just because there's a bike lane, I don't know if I would necessarily want my kid riding on the street on Old Post Road. It's just not a road that you would consider a very good road to ride a bike on. But hey, leave it up to the engineer. Might know better than me, but I just feel like that road specifically, just people have concern about safety concerns. I don't know what it costs. I'm not even getting into that right now, but it's just a matter of public safety. I think that it just doesn't seem like the right road to do it on. But again, I stand corrected. If the engineer said it, I guess, I don't know if there was any studies done or anything like that.
Not to be rude, but just to abide by the time has elapsed. Just first to Councilman Patel and then to our business administrator.
So whenever something like this gets brought up, I want to point out that it's not necessarily, when you have to think about it, I've seen people ride bikes on Route 27. It's unsafe. I have seen people ride bikes everywhere without bike lanes. So this is, and if you have driven around Edison, you have seen people ride bikes without lanes, and it is unsafe. So this is to provide some sort of safety, and I'm hoping that this safety encourages other people to ride bikes. So it's better than nothing. And in terms of the cost, it's mostly striping as of right now to encourage people to ride bikes. And if we can get more people to ride bikes, and if we do see more activities, then I am willing to put more, or I personally will support more money being put into bike lanes to make it even safer with actual physical dividers. But that is something long down the road. I think this is just a start. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel, and to our business administrator.
Regarding Old Post Road, this is reestablishing exactly what was already a bike path. What we're doing is, as Councilman Patel mentioned, we're doing all of the striping, and we're bringing it up to this current standards for bike lanes. So we're just reestablishing what was already there. There was another question.
There was a question about potential hiring within the water and sewer utility, but I don't know.
There is a current opening on the website for a laborer position.
Thank you. Any other comments to the questions? Anyone else from in attendance? Yes, sir.
Robert Sussenberg, 37 Gold Road. I'm going to be brief. And
Thank you.
The bike lane segued into something that has been bothering me for a while. Are there any regulations on e-bikes, electric scooters, and motorbikes in the town? I've been driving down 27, get stuck behind an electric scooter doing 20 miles an hour. They have no reflectors. Most people don't wear helmets. They have no warning devices on them, and they ride on the streets like cars. And I think it's becoming more and more dangerous. I've had kids cross in and out of cars. So again, just a question. I don't know if they're there. I don't know if we enforce them, but I think it's something we really should look into. Thank you.
I'm not aware of anything in the code, but I think we should definitely, I agree with the assessment that we should review that. Thank you. Anyone else that wishes to speak? Any rebuttals? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close
Motion
the
to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oral petition remarks is closed. This time, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Council President, before you adjourn the meeting, I want to make a comment here.
Yes, Councilman Patel.
This is my 8th year on the council dais, and I have watched 4 years council meeting. The way we are operating this body, I think we are losing discipline. What happened on Monday, what happened today? Yes, attorney has a privilege, but I have not seen 8 years being on the council that attorney is talking in the backside of the council dais. I understand the council member might have a question. He is feel free to go in a back room and answer, or council member is feel free to ask the question and he can answer it. Again, I'm just saying that let's maintain the discipline that we are a professional body and we are acting professionally.
I will perform my role in a more sustained manner going forward.
Absolutely. And if you don't want to maintain that quorum, I'll be happy to pull my chair and stand next to him or sit next to him while you are talking to the resident.
Hey,
Any
Council
other-
President,
Councilwoman Chef Freeman?
for the last time, it's supposed to be some decorum. So when the council person continuously talks negative about me up here, he's supposed to be, it's a point of order when he adds my name to stuff. Not just the person came up and said it, but plenty of people are saying, like, why is he always attacking you every day? You have a problem when you're attacking, a woman. Misogynistic behavior is very bad, and I think it should be addressed to Mr. Coyle when he does that again.
I will be more attentive in my role. Thank you. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patel, second by Council Vice President Harris. All in favor? Aye.